I'd like to call to order the commission meeting for this evening, June 25th, 2024. I apologize that we've been running late all night, but sometimes municipal business is just so fascinating. You can't help yourself and takes a little longer than you thought. So let's start, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. McGill, roll call, please.
Commissioner Flynn,
Present.
Commissioner Grella,
Here.
Commissioner Siegler,
Here.
Commissioner Silverman. I'm not sure if he's available online.
I am here.
He is here, present. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Smager Wilson.
Here. Okay, can we begin with a summary of discussion session topics and any announcements, please, Manager McGill?
Thank you, Madam President. Earlier tonight, Commission met in discussion session, received information and discussed the following items. We received an update on the tennis center operations, since we've taken over the operation of that center full-time, and got a very comprehensive report from our new tennis center manager. We received information on the filtration system at the swim center, and some short-term and long-term, operational plans and recommendations. We're going to get additional information from David Donnellan on that, so the commission can make some future decisions. We heard a presentation on the municipality's efforts related to the process for consideration of electrification for municipal fleet vehicles. Primarily, we covered information provided by Chief Haberman on the 3 vehicles under consideration for action by the commission tonight. We also got a less than 30-second update on the active transportation plan due to a time constraint. But Assistant Manager McMeans had provided a memo to the commission, asked if there were any questions or further information required. There was not. We did not really have time for updates on the activities of various boards, but we did poll the commission to ask about changing the time of the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Board from the current 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. There were no objections to that. We'll make that change and advertise as required. And then Commissioner Flynn gave us an update on the Townie Award that we received, which is a statewide award for the Vibrant Uptown project, and expressed thanks to all involved in the project. But prior to that meeting, we met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next commission meeting will be held on Tuesday, July 23rd. The July 9th commission meeting has been canceled. That July 23rd meeting will begin at approximately 8 p.m. in this room. Here are the ways the public can participate, either in person. You don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time and sign the sheet at the back of the room if you wish to speak during citizens' comments or a public hearing, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. And if you wish to speak during the meeting, simply use the raise hand feature during citizens' comments or public hearings, and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak.
Thank you. Mission Vice President Grella, can you give us community highlights?
Thank you, Madam President. We got 4 today. 4th of July, talk a little bit about our public rail system, junior commissioner applications, get them back in the room, giving us some great updates, and hazardous waste, which everyone loves talking about. So here's a reminder of next week's fun activities. July 4th is our community day from noon to 5 in Mount Lebanon Park with a concert from Commissioner Jeff Siegler. No, that's not true. It's with the Delaney's at 7:30 and fireworks at 9:30. First Friday is Friday, July 5th from 7 to 10 p.m. on Washington Road in Uptown with the music of Penna Players. Is that the polka band? Or no? Is that, I'm not sure. Oh, cool. Thank you. And finally, the Mount Lebanon Police Department's Classic Car Show is Sunday, July 7th from 9 to 4 on Washington Road. Always a fun event. All these events are free and rain cancellations will be available by Lebo Alert, our text and email messaging system. Sign up at mylebo.mountlebanon.org. Pittsburgh Regional Transit will be working on the LRT tracks on Alfred Street through July 9. Alfred Street is open and you will have access to the business, parking, and Parsway area, but there is no through traffic, and you will not be able to cross the tracks. Allow some extra time to go around the closure. PRT has many concurrent projects on the LRT this summer. Get details at mountlebanon.org/public transit. I love all these links. This is perfect. This is your last call to apply to be a Mount Lebanon Junior Commissioner or Junior Board Member for the 2024-2025 school year. Both positions create valuable links between students and local government. Applications for both are due to our Public Information Office on July 8. Find an application and list of qualifications at mountlebanon.org/junior commissioner. And finally, Mount Lebanon will have its last household hazardous waste collection event of the season on Saturday, August 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Public Works facility. You must have reservations, which you can make at nobleenviro.com. N as in Nancy, O, B as in boy, L as in lady, E, another E, N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, I as in indigo, R as in radio, O as in orange.com, nobleenviro.com. The fees are listed on that site when you reserve your slot. That is all, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You could have done, I know, you could have made it.
Now we have time for citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we will try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission. State your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we expect that the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First up tonight, we have Michael, I can't read your last name, Franzel? Michael
272 Colonial
Colonial.
Drive.
Might not be here.
Oh, okay. Well then, Colonel Hoon, it's your turn.
I saw a video in the last week from Ukraine. It was a drone operator who was out hunting Russians. Well, he came across 3 deer that were on their way into a minefield. And he flew down at face level with the deer, got their attention, turned them around and moved them away from the minefield. Obviously, this guy is not from Mount Lebanon. People who deal in death every day and see the bodies constantly quite often do things like that. Pick up a cat that's on the battlefield or a dog, or attend to a soldier on the other side that is wounded. That's humanity, folks. That's what humanity is. Okay, last meeting, I pointed out that we've gone 20 years in the Deer Project, 20 years. Now, Mr. Silverman pointed out that we've only been killing deer 13 of those 20 years. The people in my group were quite excited to learned that one of the commissioners was keeping track of how long you all have been killing these innocent animals. At the same time, they were not impressed. 13 years. Killing the most beautiful creatures in this township for no reason. Or have any of you come up with a reason? Anybody would be glad to hear it. I mean, there are a lot of folks out there that are wondering what is going on, because they know people, other communities, who have no idea what Mount Lebanon is doing.
Colonel Hoon, we published a report before the program started and at the 5-year mark related to the reasons that the program took place, the results of the program related to deer vehicle collisions. And that was published in a report. You had come and commented, and I believe I might get her name wrong. I think it was Kimberly Subcheck. She had come and had recommended that we do a scientific analysis of that. We hired a consultant to work with our staff to create a report that looked at deer vehicle collisions. At that time, we also looked at things like insurance costs, average amounts that our residents pay for crashes that involve injuries, that don't involve injuries. All of that was factored into the report, and that was provided at the 5-year mark. I can't remember that date. I want to say it was 2018 or 19. No, it was after that. It was later.
I think it was after 18 because
Yeah.
you sort of commissioned in 18. for-
It was before the pandemic, though.
Correct.
Yeah. So we did, and we had conversations both with yourself and Ms. Subcheck, who asked for those things to be done. Those things were planned anyway. And then at the time, we have a different commission now, different people, but even members of the commission said that this was not a blank check and it was never going to be a blank check, that we would review it every year. And we did talk about costs at that time, and we've talked about costs since then. So, there has been work done, and it's, I know you have very strong feelings about it, and you have numbers that you've looked at, over the years too. And I feel like we've covered it pretty well certainly where I stand, and I think where other members stand
Right.
too.
And I believe, just recently we heard from a report on the health of the parks. In essence, that what we should have is 6 or 8 deer per square mile, and we have 80. And the parks are unhealthy because of that, because basically we can't grow the trees we need because the deer eat them. So they're overpopulated.
That number has moved from 15 to 10 to 6, and different numbers come up depending on the contractor that's involved. The contractors want to make sure that they get as much money from you guys as they possibly can.
Colonel Hoon, that wasn't made by a contractor. That was made by a consultant who was looking at the health of the parks. It had nothing to do with deer culling.
Consultant, what?
It was Oikos.
Yes.
Yeah, and he has nothing to do with deer culling whatsoever.
Nope.
And that was his recommendation. And I would just go one step further and ask, why is the city of Pittsburgh culling deer more aggressively now? If no one is hearing about this?
I know
Why does-
exactly why Pittsburgh's doing that. People around those parks have complained that the deer. are
It's all
eating-
about gardens, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, but what about the removal of other species that actually actively cull deer herds? Should we reintroduce those to make sure that we're doing this
No,
all
I'm not
naturally?
suggesting that at
But
all.
that's the alternative.
I am not.
that is the
suggesting that
alternative.
At all.
Right.
That's the only alternative that's out there. It's either we do it or coyotes, wolves, mountain lions. They are options. Do you want to reintroduce those?
Is an option. There are other options.
What are they? What are they?
Educating people, there are over
No, no,
$100
to sustain
publications out there
the
on
natural
gardening
environment.
with deer.
To sustain the natural environment,
That-
we need to manage the deer herd. In order to regrow the natural native trees in this region and proactively manage the health of the environment of the remaining space we have, we need to manage the deer. Now, we can do that naturally with other alpha predators, or we can do it as safely as possible through human intervention. Now, I have asked you many times to come in, engage with the boards, participate. I think you went once. You don't stay and listen to any comments. You just come in and complain and then leave.
I'm
Now,
not
it's not,
complaining, I'm making statements based on evidence.
what, you don't bring evidence. You just bring it, you just come in and make comments.
Over 100 publications are available for gardening with deer. You
Sure.
can look these up.
Of
I
course.
don't have to haul in all kinds of reports to satisfy your demands.
But you're asking us to change our policy positions
Absolutely.
without any evidence.
Without any evidence of what? The deer are not harming anybody or anything in this township.
As I just said,
True.
our consultants, every consultant that is not looking at deer calling is looking at the health of the native environment here, are saying the exact opposite of what you were saying.
The only threat to humans on this planet is other humans.
What does that have to do with deer?
What's that have to do with deer? We're not looking at our problems. What we're doing is taking care of people who vote for you guys. That's
Okay.
exactly.
I'm gonna end the discussion because we're not getting anywhere. Thank you for
We
your
haven't for
comments,
20 years.
Colonel Hume. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next up, Daniel Mayer.
Danny Mayer, 231 Atlanta Drive. We'll make quick commentary on his, as a former police officer for the county police, worked in homicide, did accident reconstruction. I can personally attest to accidents, fatal accidents that are caused by wild deer running throughout the roadway, creating hazards. And I also, former city resident with city certainly doesn't have the money to want to pay for deer calling, but they certainly do it for a reason. So
Right.
I'll move on. I'm at 231 Atlanta Drive. I'm here today because of 240 Atlanta Drive. Property there, I have a signboard. I
Oh.
did email a photo deck into the commission here. That's a small samplings. I have several videos. I've been in Mount Lebanon since 2015, on Atlanta since 2016. This house has been in the same condition for 8 years. The woman, Rita Mankey is it's pronounced, that owns the property has never resided at the property. It is overrun, completely filled to the gills on all floors with debris and garbage, as is the backyard, the garage. She hired people to erect sheds that are concealed by the weeds. They're also filled with garbage. About a year and a half ago, there was a massive water main break in the house on the second floor. She was not present. It was leaching out the bricks exterior. Fire department came. They made a determination to terminate all utilities to the property, gas, water, electric, have not been flowing to this property. She would appear at times at night in her vehicle, sleeping in her vehicle in the driveway, and then she would depart. My understanding, she's now living with another family member in Butler County and has been doing so for some time. What's led up to me being here, other than having to look at this day in and day out, prior to Memorial Day weekend, we had a rat infestation into our neighborhood coming from the structure. So for Memorial Day weekend, the kids were in the yard and we have rats during the daytime running throughout the yard. There's pictures of those and others. I've personally seen rats, rodents. Several windows are broken open without pushing in and making your way in. You can't see in, but I've seen other creatures and rodents, raccoons going into this property. My contention is it's blighted property. It should be condemned, quite frankly. If you would gain access through legal means or whatever, that it is completely unsafe for the neighborhood. With the utilities off, there's still a possibility for a fire or some type of collapse. There are many children that play in the area. Heaven forbid one of them would happen to get into this house and be trapped by some of this debris or whatever goes on. That's kind of it in a nutshell. I rambled through it pretty quick. I didn't want to get into all the ins and outs of it, but I'm here seeking help. I speak for my neighbors, the Morrisons, the Obachowskis, the whole street. We stripped our gardens out after we saw these rats. We cleared all of our plants and eliminate any type of housing or eating capability. I know she has pending court cases.
I was just gonna say, I'm a shock. I mean, it's pretty appalling and it's unacceptable. And
Well,
so,
I'll be at the magistrate hearing on July 11th for next hearing. The can's been kicked down the road by the magistrate for a year and a half now. She's been found guilty. She doesn't levy fines. She doesn't adjudicate. She doesn't move it forward. So I've filed complaints with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, County Health Department. Mr. Flynn has been wonderful and been very engaging with me in conversations. I've talked to county council, I've kind of exhausted all my resources as a civilian.
So, Mr. This has been in front of the magistrate and we understand that,
She was fined the last time $10,000. She's making very small payments.
Well, I would like to tell you, she just showed up last week with a brand new car wearing Hoka tennis shoes and all kinds of great clothing
We,
to clean the weeds.
not to interrupt you, but please,
fine, yeah.
that's okay. Please understand, once that case goes before the magistrate, the municipality loses control in terms of a fine that's levied, the dollar amount, and or the payment schedule that's agreed to by the magistrate. So we
Okay.
don't want the property owner, we never want a property owner to be fined because it doesn't benefit anyone, right? It doesn't correct or address the issue. I know you've had conversations with Commissioner Flynn. I will tell you that Commissioner Flynn, Bill Weiss, who is our solicitor, myself, and Rodney Sarver, who's in charge of the inspection office, also did a Teams call to go through what legal options the municipality has to address this property. And so we are fully aware, we are taking the steps that we have from I'll say a legal standpoint. It's not a quick process. It's not an ideal process. You are correct. It's also our understanding that she is no longer residing at the property. She's residing with a relative. My understanding is that she is estranged from other family members. And obviously, I'm not a mental health professional, but I will tell you that there's probably a mental health component at play here. None of that helps you.
I don't understand all that. I don't care. I pay taxes. You would not live next door to that house the last 8 years. I guarantee it.
I-
And under Title 26, 205, under blight, there are provisions in the PA statutes that talk about condemnation, about eminent domain, the properties that, and she checks, I go down to the subsections, she checks every single one of them, safety hazards, it's vacant, utilities are off, like there's a lot of legal standing here, I think, to take some more aggressive action against this. Because she's very aware, she's not an unintelligent woman. She works, I think she works for Allegheny Health Network or one of these for 18 years. She has means, she has income, but she's playing games. She goes to the magistrate, pays $10 on her fine and, oh, well. So, yes.
I'd like to state that sorry to interrupt you, but that I'm kind of the same opinion, like the reasons for whatever property is this way, it doesn't matter. But I think we need to revisit the idea of not finding people I mean, that's how we cultivate the behaviors that we want out of residents through either incentive and punitive. And I think that our sort of unwillingness to get punitive probably keeps these things from getting mitigated.
It's not our unwillingness. Once it goes to the magistrate, again, we have no,
Prior to it going to the magistrate, I think we should be, more willing to find.
we can't find without going to the magistrate.
Okay,
They're entitled to a hearing.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, in the meantime, I'm fully committed to staying engaged on this topic 100%. I will be by regularly. I do ride my bike through and look regularly, and I will stay in touch with you as I keep pushing on the topic. I promise it is not going to be off my radar.
My neighbors across the street.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Are there any comments online?
Nobody online that has their hand raised.
You noticed that I remembered that this
I
time.
did notice that.
I'm getting better.
Good job.
Okay, moving on. Colonel, sorry. Commissioner Grella, item number 3, please.
I'm not even going to say thank you for that, Madam President. Consideration of the minutes from the regular meeting held June 10, 2024. I move to approve the minutes.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
See? Thank you, Commissioner Silverman. Motion carries. Okay, item number 4, That would be you, Commissioner Sigler.
Oh, boy. Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the adoption of resolution number R-9-24 for Beg Snyder Park, S 1500 M-MB-L-04 sewer rehab and replacement project for Allegheny County Sanitary Authority Green Revitalization of Our Waterways Program application submission. Just getting started. An application for an Allegheny County Sanitary Authority Green Revitalization of Our Waterways Program grant has been prepared for the following area: Beg Snyder Park, S 15-MB-L-04 sewer rehab and replacement. The project includes rehabilitation of 3,000 linear feet of manhole-to-manhole liners and sewer replacement of linear feet of 8 inches, sewer and rehabilitation of 4 manholes through Beg Snyder Park. The GROW grant program will reimburse the municipality for eligible design and construction costs as determined by Alcosan. If awarded, the municipality can expect a minimum reimbursement of 15% of the total eligible design and construction costs. The proposed repairs will contribute to the required corrective action under the current consent order as they are located in areas above the established thresholds. The grant requires a commitment from the municipality and adoption of a standard resolution. Madam President, I move to approve the submission of the Allegheny County Sanitary Authority Green Revitalization of Our Waterways Program grant application and the adoption of the associated resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, so signify.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. A technical memorandum has been provided and includes a summary of the Rockwood SSO CS 42A Sanitary Sewer Overflow Elimination Plan, SSOEP, for the following area: Rockwood SSO CS 42A. The Rockwood SSO is located at structure CS 42A at the connection into the former Alcosan interceptor in Castle Shannon at the SMRC S42 OSS L02 point of connection. Paragraph 7 of the Phase 2 COA requires the township to complete the following with regard to the SSOEP alternative analysis. By December 31st, 2023, the municipality shall develop a continuous simulation calibrated hydrologic and hydraulic model using the latest version of the US EPA's Stormwater Management Model, SWMM, or equivalent model approved by ACHD to identify causation of SSOs and complete an analysis with a chosen alternative with dates each SSO will be eliminated. By December 31st, 2023, the municipality shall submit to ACHD with a copy to PADEP and Alcosan the alternative analysis completed under paragraph 7B above. In December 2023, ACHD granted the municipality of Mount Lebanon an extension of the paragraph 7B and 7C deadlines stated above to June 30th, 2024. The alternative analyses has culminated in development of the recommended SSO elimination project alternative 1, which included closing the existing overflow structure. Madam President, I move to authorize the manager in consultation with and as recommended by the engineer and as required by the Mount Lebanon Phase 2 consent order, an agreement with the Allegheny County Health Department to administratively approve the Mount Lebanon Sanitary Sewer Overflow Elimination Plan prepared for the Rockwood SSO CS 42A.
Second.
Discussion.
I'm too tired.
Yeah, I plan to vote AYE.
We, just to put this try to put this in layman's terms, we have problems with sanitary sewer overflows.
Right.
There are dangers to that, that
means
are,
raw sewage.
yes.
Coming out.
In people's homes, in the streets, things like that. There are problems with our lines. We have an active plan to address these problems. That's done in conjunction with our engineers, with other municipalities that are, we are tributary to them. That's what this is all about. A lot of these
Long-winded.
Technical, but
long technical names. We have sanitary sewer overflow problems in some areas. It gets worse sometimes when it rains. We have a plan to address it. That's what this plan is about.
And it happens all throughout Western Pennsylvania in many townships. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And one more. Commissioner Sigler.
Madam President. Letter of support to Scott Township related to the Scott Township sanitary sewer overflow elimination plan prepared for C-48 POC. A technical memorandum has been provided and includes a summary of the Hope Hollow sanitary sewer overflow elimination plan for the following area. Hope Hollow, 3 constructed sanitary sewer overflows remain in the Hope Hollow C-48 point of connection sewer shed. Those 3 SSOs are all located within the township of Scott near the intersection of Cochran Road and Green Tree Road. Paragraph 7 of the Phase 2 consent order agreement requires the township to complete the following with regard to the SSOEP alternative analysis. By December 31st, 2023, municipality shall develop a continuous simulation calibrated hydrologic and hydraulic model using the latest version of US EPA stormwater management model or equivalent model approach by ACHD to identify, Allegheny County Health Department to identify causation and complete an analysis within the chosen alternative dates. Each SSO will be eliminated. By December 31st, 2023, municipality shall submit to Allegheny County Health Department with a copy to, I assume, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection and Alcosan, the alternative analysis completed under paragraph 7B above. In December 2023, ACHD granted the Township of Scott and the Municipality of Mount Lebanon an extension of the paragraph 7B and 7C deadline stated above to June 30th, 2024. The alternatives analysis has accumulated in development of the recommended SSO elimination project alternative 3C, which includes construction of a 78,400 gallon equalization facility at the Manor Park location in Scott Township, along with an increased conveyance capacity upstream of the proposed equalization facility. Madam President, I move to motion to authorize the manager in consultation with and as recommended by the engineer and as required by the Mount Lebanon Phase 2 consent order in agreement with the Allegheny County Health Department to issue a letter of support to Scott Township related to the Scott Township sanitary sewer overflow elimination plan prepared for C-48 POC.
Second.
That holds the record for the fastest I've ever heard anybody read an item. Congratulations. Is there any discussion?
Just another comment. This is very similar to the last one. We share area and sewers with other municipalities that we are next to. Scott Township is one of them. This is us working with Scott Township to address our common sanitary issues. That's what this is about.
Seeing no other comments. All those in favor, so signify.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Grella, item number 7.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration of a proposal for deer management services. The municipality received a proposal for a provision of services related to the deer management program. Suburban Wildlife Management Solutions, LLC, has provided management services over the last 3 years. The proposal includes both the management services for the archery program as well as the professional sharpshooting services. Municipal staff has reviewed the proposal and deemed the proposal to meet the goals and objectives of the municipality's deer management program. The proposal is a 3-year contract with the municipal option to renew for 2 additional years. The cost of management of the archery program is $9,000 per year, and the cost of the professional sharpshooting is $41,175 per year. The award of the sharpshooting portion of the contract is contingent upon the municipality receiving the necessary permits for the program from the Pennsylvania Game Commission. I move to authorize the proper officials to execute the contract with Suburban Wildlife Management Solutions, LLC, for deer management services, including archery and sharpshooting, at a rate of $50,175 per year.
Second.
Discussion? I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for pointing out that deer are a real hazard because I almost hit one on the turnpike 2 days ago. Came within, saw it, don't know how it got away from me and the guy next to me who was on the shoulder trying to avoid all of us with our brakes screaming on from, 70 miles per hour down to nothing. So I still have bad dreams. So thank you for pointing that out. You need to get rid of them. Okay.
I just had a quick question for Ian. Did we have DVCs in the report? I just saw deer's culled.
I think,
Did I miss it?
it's on the first page. I went back and looked.
Oh,
The memo I sent has the chart from 2015 to 2023.
Yeah.
The following paragraph says, through the first 5 months of 2024, there have been 19 DVCs reported to the police department, a number consistent with trends from 2020 and 2021. And then there's a chart on the last 5 years
I missed that part. I'm sorry. Thank you. So 19 deer vehicle collisions.
so far this year.
Got it. Okay. And then how did that compare to others? In terms of like, because we did a 5-year analysis, but we're now a couple of years past that, right? I'm not suggesting we need to necessarily do another analysis, but how does the most recent couple years compare to the,
Yeah, that was the 19 was consistent with the number from 2020, 2021.
okay, got it. Thank you.
They're still multiplying faster than we can kill them.
Yeah. Well, the collision, I mean, the DVCs are what we
Yeah. Want to get
have
rid of.
said are the problem
Right.
because there's a financial loss, there's a potential loss of life, there's
Right.
damages. That's how we
Injuries.
couch this program and
Right.
that's what we keep tracking and following.
Right.
Included the cost benefit analysis, updated numbers as an appendix to my memo. So
I don't know that I saw that. I saw the memo, but had a bunch of other things. It's all right. I'll get it after. Thank you. Appreciate it.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Mr. McMeans,
Yeah, I didn't see.
regarding the OICO study and their recommendations, will that change our approach or any of the efforts
I
underway?
sent the study to, I sent the OICO study to Suburban Wildlife, for them to look at. And I think one of the challenges with the OICO study, 2 of the parks they primarily focused on were Twin Hills Park and Bird Park. So right now, we don't do any deer management activities in Bird Park. If the commission was willing to change that, we could look at that at some point in the future, but currently we don't do any deer activities there. Twin Hills Park, when we started the program, we had a legal agreement with Scott Township because Wyoming Mount Lebanon owns Twin Hills. It is physically located in Scott Township. So the legal agreement is that we can do archery activity in Twin Hills, but not sharpshooting. If that legal agreement were to change, then perhaps we could have more success in Twin Hills than what we've had in the past. You can see from the numbers in my memo, we tend to get a lot more deer through sharpshooting than we do for archery. Also, safety is the #1 priority of the program. So if there is activity of people using the parks, they don't conduct deer removal activities. And Twin Hills is a very heavily used park. Another challenge with archery is archery has to be done during daylight hours, whereas sharpshooting they can do overnight. So being that they're limited to the archery season, which is like September through the end of January, and we've had 2 very mild winters lately. And not being able to sharpshoot in Twin Hills, there's been a proliferation of deer there, which the OICO study noted. So those are kind of the 2 constraints to the 2 main parks that the OICO study looked at, but the suburban wildlife contractors are aware of the study. But both of, addressing those 2 areas would take, Bird Park would take some direction from the commission and Twin Hills would take an updated legal agreement with Scott Township.
I just want to mention some numbers here. Like when Ian looked into this in detail with the contractor and I had conversations with insurance companies that specifically track deer vehicle collisions. First of all, Pennsylvania is one of the worst states in the country for deer vehicle collisions. On average, when we looked into this 4 years ago, when we did the report, it was like almost $4,500 on average per deer vehicle collision. And that was if accidents weren't involved. I'm sure that number hasn't gotten any better. I don't think insurance has gotten cheaper. When you look at the report, which I must have seen something different, Ian, but Ian is saying that we have an average of 63 per year over 5 years. You're talking about 330 deer vehicle collisions. Just the insurance cost of that alone to our residents is over $1 million. The same period of time, this program is costing us about $250,000. So there's such a wide gap between what it costs us and the benefit to our residents from insurance numbers alone, let alone if people actually get injured, which I think we just heard from the retired officer. I think that's obviously an issue. So when I looked at this, for me, it was very clearly an economic issue, not a cultural issue, a hunting issue. I think you add on top of that, Colonel Hoon was here before asking about justifications. A lot of this meat, if not all of this meat, is donated to local food shelters and other programs.
Right.
And I'm not a hunter myself. I had a bow and arrow accident that I probably should not have had when I was a kid. I don't own any weapons, but I do know that I have had residents who have asked to be part of that program as a volunteer, and they were. And it looked like we had residents, or maybe not residents, but volunteers culling deers in higher numbers than before, which I think is good.
Over the last 3 years that we did the contract with Suburban Wildlife, I don't remember the exact number. It's in there. I think we added 7 new volunteer residents to
Which
the
is
program.
great for residents that want to do that. And residents have told us that they want to do that. And, you know, the consultants have made that available.
And I don't remember the exact numbers. It's in the cost benefit analysis at the end of the memo, but I think on average, based on kind of where the trends were going with deer vehicular collisions versus how they've come down over time since we started the program. I think the average per household savings is like $110 per year.
That's right.
And the cost of the program, if you average out $50,000 over 14,000 households, comes out to like $3.15 per household. So.
Per year.
Yeah.
And we've had comments and questions about the reports and the information that we look at to make the decisions we make, which is not an emotional decision or a cultural decision. These are economic decisions that we're making. And this information is public along with the reports.
Correct. And we've also, just to go back to an earlier point that Dr. Hoon made, we did at one point in time, and I think it may still be archived on the website, although I'm not 100% positive since we've updated the website. We did put out, I'll say, lethal and non-lethal steps the municipality has taken to address the deer
Right.
issue.
Right.
And under those non-lethal steps, there was a list of recommended plantings that are deer resistant, not deer proof. There is really no such thing. If they're hungry enough, they'll eat anything.
Yeah.
As well as some steps that we took in terms of posting signage on some of the major arterials that say, deer crossing, those types of steps, in addition to some other, I'll say, educational efforts that we've pushed out to residents as well.
Dear Doctor came out. I know we had residents who were interfering with certain hunting activities and the police had conversations with them at the time. This has been very well covered, in my opinion.
We've
In
also
terms of a program.
talked to our contractors that do plantings for us in our municipal beds, so that they are planting, again, deer resistant plants.
Right.
So it hasn't all been, I'll say, lethal methods to manage the deer population. There's been an educational and non-lethal component as well.
And can I make one final
Of course you
issue
can.
to Colonel Hoon's question of, why are we doing this? In 2013, the commission, by vote of the commission at the time, established a goal of reducing deer vehicular collisions by 50%. So that's why we're doing this, is to reduce deer vehicular collisions.
Exactly.
And that was established by vote of the commission on public record in the public meeting minutes, all that stuff. So it's out there and.
That's why we
those-
continue to do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. And those-
One point of correction, that was 2014, not 2013.
2014.
One of my first votes.
Thank you. Yes.
William Wilson, retired U.S. Army sharpshooter. After the near accident on the turnpike, will be getting a hunting license to volunteer. He said, I've never hunted, but I'm doing it now, because it was that awful and that close. So you'll have another volunteer. And he's an ace shooter or something like that, whatever that means. Somebody probably knows what that means, but I don't.
Sorry, it took so long. There's I think a motion and a second.
There is a motion.
Yeah,
and a
the
second.
motion and a second. Okay, no more discussion. Stop it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Come on.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Commissioner Sigler, consideration.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration to purchase one police administration vehicle. The police department is requesting to purchase one police administration vehicle for use by the chief of police. This new vehicle will replace the chief's current vehicle, which will be funneled down through the current police rotation. The budgeted amount for this vehicle includes upfitting is $52,000. Upfitting costs are estimated to be $4,000. This vehicle will be purchased under the CoStarz contract 025-E22-485, and the total purchase price includes the government price concession discount. Madam, I move to purchase one Dodge Durango GT through the CoStarz purchasing program at a total price of $55,093.40.
Second.
Any discussion?
If residents want to understand the conversation about electrification of our fleet, There's information that was submitted by previous consultants, and we are working on a fleet plan for that. Information to be out sometime in the future.
Correct. No more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Now, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to appoint Linda Topolesky of Marshall Drive to the Resiliency Board with a term expiring 3/31/2026.
Second.
Second.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 10, Commissioner Ziegler.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration of the expenditure list for May totaling $5,918,483.64.
I move that we approve the expenditure list for May totaling $5,918,483.64.
Second.
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioner Grella, departmental reports.
Departmental reports be filed.
Excellent. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.